Sorry, got it going?
Oh, it was.
Call meeting to order for Dunbar Finance Committee. February 19th, 2019, 4:30. Actually, a little bit later than that, but 4:30 posted meeting. And we've got our committee plus the rest of the council here except one member. Hopefully, Lynn will be able to get in for a little bit. Still got a little feedback. Yeah, what we'll do, let me, before we approve our minutes and get forward, just lay out a couple things. It's a little after 4:30. It's a lengthy meeting. We've got a lot to cover. So what the goal I would prefer to have is after we call to order and do our minutes, then we jump right into the invoices, take our time, get through those, and then a couple of the things that we have to get done for tonight to get ready for full council meeting. We'll get those, and get some of those quicker things knocked out, then go into the budget part for the remaining part of the meeting. Also, about an hour in, or so about 5:45, I may ask if we can all take just a short recess, not an adjournment, but a recess, because 2.5 hours is way too long to ask anybody to sit without restroom breaks and snack time, or to respond to your text or whatever. So we may take a short recess and then come back and finish it out until we get to 6:45 if need be. Now, we resolve all the world's problems at 5:30, we're done, but I don't see that happening. You ready? Okay, so that's basically what we'll try to accomplish tonight. We'll start with the quicker things, the things that are necessary to be done before our 7 o'clock meeting, and then jump into the budget. So we'll start, call the meeting to order, and you have your minutes from February 4, 2019, February 4, 2019 Finance Committee meeting minutes. Any questions, comments, or corrections on those minutes? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes for February 4th, 2019.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Steve, for taking care of that. Okay. We'll jump, that's what here is. So we'll jump into our invoices. You've got a total of $126,381.70 for this period. It's primarily invoices, but there were 1 or 2 card receipts. And so we'll start working our way through those. We'll start over here with Jim. Any questions on invoices or a couple P cards?
Yeah, that's the thing, but on page 4 of 6, a red hot fire equipment. What is that, Chief?
I can't say. Let's see here, red hot fire equipment,
Rescue tool.
$1,000. That was the $1,000 service contract on the Jaws of Life to service all the tools. Of course, you have to do that to retain the warranty.
Okay.
But they serviced all 3 sets of the tools the department owns.
And name just jumped out of me.
Yeah.
Red hot, man.
It's actually a local firefighter from Charleston owns his own company that represents TNT. He just chose to call it.
The Mountaineer glass thing, that was the one out front where the glass door was broken.
What page is that?
That's on the same page.
That's fire department, did you have?
Fire department.
That's
That's glass around there, glass.
your gas, that's usually.
Gas.
Gas, I'm sorry.
That's just your utilities.
That was really it. That's all I really is. There was over on second on page 2 of 6. That was for the purchase of the new trailer. We got that now?
Scott's not here.
Yes, I think they did.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Connie?
I really didn't have any, just a note on 3 of 6, the election cost was $5,627.37. And, that's a little bit compared to what we normally have to do for an election.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping in the next election, when we actually run again, or it happens, that instead of paying 35 or 40,000, it'll be something similar to this.
Should be about 12 between both of them, primary and election instead of.
Instead of 30 or 40. Awesome. That's all.
Okay, the only thing I had was, on page 5 of 6, just from my own understanding, where we transferred money to the Fireman's Conservation, that fund. Of course, 500 was the citizen donated, the mayor told us
Yes.
about. Now, make sure I'm getting my numbers right, Connie, on the next two, the $1,170 goes to the fireman, the $2,341 is the city share of that collection, is that correct?
No,
Okay.
that's both of them, all that went into. the
All
fund.
three to the fire?
Yes.
Okay.
We broke it down because we do break it down in the receivables.
Because when I saw the garbage fee and the other municipal fee, I thought maybe.
Yeah, and we have, and if you look at our receivables, we have municipal fees and then we have refuse fees, so we have to take it out of those line items, so. Yes, all 3 of those went into the pension plan last week.
And then page 1 of 1, the city of Nitro pending, is that based on where the dog catcher resigned, or what's the status?
Yes.
It's pending.
Yes.
I'm in the process of talking with the mayor to see if we would actually load that total amount based on the level of service that we have during that period of time.
That's all I have. Yes, you already answered one of those. Okay, good. Okay. Any question on the invoices from other council? Hearing none, entertain a motion to send these on to full council for approval, 126,381.70.
I make a motion, we recommend full payment, send full council $126,381.70.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you all. We drop down to new business. If you would indulge me to jump to B again, so we can spend more time on A. And just quickly cover this because this has to be done for tonight as well. We already have discussed it. It was in our invoices, but it's here as a separate item, of course. 562737 for the Caldwell County Commission for the levy election. I presume there's no questions, but I ask. A motion to send that to full council for payment.
I make a motion to send to full council $5,627.37 to the Kanawha County Commission for the 2018 levy election.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Connie the clerk, for taking care of that for election. We're just glad it passed. We had good colors. A couple other quick things that we need to cover quickly, just to get a couple dates here, just try to knock all these out of the way so we can focus on that. There was info in our packet about the Ford truck. Could we ask Mayor for that to be on next time?
Yes, that's one of two.
Because you've had the info about a Ford truck for the Public Works, and by the next meeting, it'll be on there. That way you've had time to digest it. If you have any questions for Scott, you can ask him tonight or stop by the garage. Just on a personal note, it's needed. I mean, that's just my opinion. We drive around town and we see some of the trucks, we're doing better. We got the one 3 years ago, and now we got another white truck the other day. But we still got several trucks that you're almost embarrassed to see the city of Dunbar circle on the side. So we desperately need that, but you have that, you can look at it. And next meeting, it'll be on the agenda. If you have any questions, just talk to Scott. You can also look at the options, either lease purchase or contingency funds. We've determined that we need to set a date. This is actually old business number B, a date for the fireman's pension fund. If we have time today, we can talk about it. But we had also agreed at our last special meeting to set a date to have a second special meeting to cast the vote. We can't cast the vote tonight because it's just discussion. But we can take time now if we want to set a date for that quickly. We'll have to have, let me just to make sure we understand the dates, we need to have another budget meeting, which could be during finance before the March 4th meeting. But maybe we may want to do that sometime before, because by March 4, you need your first reading of the budget, correct, Connie?
Yes.
To keep us on track. So by the second meeting in March, we presumably pass our budget, because Connie has to turn it in by the 28th. and there's no other meeting scheduled beyond that second meeting. So keep in mind when you think of dates that you can, this for the pensions for the whole council, as you think of dates for that, if you're on finance, we may have another finance meeting as well before March 4th. But sometime, preferably late February, or because the pension, we agreed just in discussion, there was no action, but we agreed to try to have a second meeting and to try to have it possibly before March the 4th meeting, or at worst case before March the 18th, so that it would be on the agenda for March the 18th. And then the second reading would be the first meeting in April to give time for all the paperwork and things, as we're trying to get whatever we resolved by July 1. So I reckon the dates on that too, the 2nd of March and the 1st of April, for what we revised.
For the budget.
No, for the fireman's pension.
Yes,
Okay. So that means we need to have a special meeting.
in order to get all those meetings,
Yeah.
special meetings, to get it all
So we need to have a special meeting
for
before,
July 1.
so sometime late February or early March. And so now's a good time for us to quickly state that, and so the mayor can take a note for that to the clerk for that meeting, because that would be a special meeting for the whole council. So any dates that fit you all?
I won't be back till the 4th.
You going cruising?
I'll leave tomorrow morning.
Okay, you're leaving tomorrow to be gone all the way until the 4th.
Till next meeting.
Okay, so you would miss a finance meeting or a budget meeting as well then, because that has to be ready by the 4th, that one.
The budget,
So for the firemen,
you know, of course, depends on how far we get tonight, and what we do, and put it back in final paper, and it can be done in that finance meeting if it's.
or Skype, yeah.
I'll Skype.
Have you all looked at your calendar any, or the first few days in March for the mayor, what are your preferences? Because that's a full council meeting. You have any preferences?
Whatever you want to do.
Uh,
There's a whole lot more to you guys than there is.
One option we do have is next Monday, the 25th. I mean, I don't know your personal schedules, but that's a Monday, and some's kind of had Mondays blocked out anyhow because of this, and there are no other city meetings. Connie, your schedule is hard also.
I'm pretty sure I'm day shift at that. So anytime.
Okay. Sure. Okay. What about, and this is for all council, the fireman's pension meeting, what about the rest of you all as well?
I'm fine. Anytime.
You say you have a meeting already on Monday? The 25th. Okay. Okay. What about 26?
What day is court meeting?
It's right there, Tuesday. Right there, 26.
I'm not sure.
Court's on the 26th that night.
Okay.
Those in downstairs.
Well, you could,
Because it's just a,
right, you can always meet
Well,
downstairs.
it's gonna be an official meeting.
Yeah, the official meeting. It's not a work session, it'll be a special call meeting.
It'll be Thursday, the 28th.
Thursday, 28th, or again, that would pass until March 18th to be on the agenda, so that would technically we could do either on the 11th, or another Monday after the 11th of March. What's some of your all's preferences, so because the mayor will need to make an agenda for him. Like Monday the 11th, fire guy, is that all right, Monday the 11th? Sure. Because that gives us, that's our second meeting, that's plenty of time to meet. This has to be posted Wednesday, is the correct way for the agenda?
If it's on a Monday, we have to get it.
Yeah, obviously, that gives us time to do that.
So what we looking at? I'm confused, so,
Monday the 11th of March,
for
just for pension.
Monday the 11th, pension.
And you all can disagree and feel free to, but I think we narrowed down an hour. Should we think an hour is sufficient? Because we made a lot of progress here this week. So fair to everybody,
So what time?
6 or 7, it doesn't matter to me, 6 or 7. We're used to coming here both those times.
6.
Start saying about here again, and I who cares right now.
I do. Let's do 6.
6 o'clock.
They need as much help as they can get.
Okay, 6 o'clock.
We're calling it full council.
That's a special, just like that last one. So it's 6 o'clock on the 11th. So the clerk and the mayor will take care of posting that for us and setting the agenda just like the last time. And chief, fire chief, you'll notify your guys too. Okay. And then back to, we'll wait till we finish our budget meeting tonight and see how far we are. Whether we can finish it in the next finance or if we need a special time for that. Thank you all. Last thing before we jump, make sure I'm not missing anything else. One other thing, and Connie and I talked about it this morning, the mayor and I texted in our packets, we got info from prosecuting attorney's office. This is in connection to another matter, but the audit was turned in due to that, and you got that in your mail. And Steve and myself were at a meeting where everything this packet had been gone over. And Connie had been there as well. So everything in this packet has been addressed, but not all of you were able to come. And if you went through and read your packet, there were 14 things that were stated in there. So Connie and Brian, correct? Brian are working on a full, what you call presentation, or to go through these items that are 2 weeks from now and answer any questions and everything, because some of them are, and we know from Steve and I being in the meeting, all 14 have been addressed, but not everybody has had access to see that on council. Some of them are minor, some of them we know we've addressed the sewer issue. We addressed that as full council. Some of them are just a couple minor things, some are more significant, so they'll have that in 2 weeks to present so that we all know where we stand on it, what's been corrected on those things, because if you got your packet the way it's worded, and it's a quick reminder, all of us, all 8 of us are also responsible to make sure everything's taken care of. So she and Brian are working on that. And again, Steve and I know that it's being worked on already, but this is a chance for Connie to show all of you with a presentation and in writing so that we all know. And then also if anybody is asking, okay, what's being done, not about the private matter, we can't speak to that, but about the audit, if you have any answers then. And then, are they ready to start the second, not the next year's audits?
Yes.
I keep calling them, and we're hoping sometime in March, April.
And this was for the end of June 30, 2016, so the one Connie's referencing will go through June 30, 2017. So,
Is that gonna be at the finance meeting?
yes,
Discussed?
yeah, she'll share those things at finance. Any quick questions for Connie? Again, she'll have that ready in 2 weeks. And a reminder as well, when we come to that time, we know there's 2 issues. There's the audit, but the audit went deeper this time because of an unethical situation. And that person is no longer with us, but we cannot speak publicly that name during that meeting when it comes up either, or we could jeopardize some things. So it's just a reminder when we get there in 2 weeks. Let's not forget, pop off and call the name or anything. All clear? We'll jump now into, while we're all really here, budget.
Do you want to go back to the,
Sorry.
data access?
Okay. Yeah, let's go back quickly. Thank you, Mayor. I forgot that. Discussion of Dave Lack's presentation. And the mayor referenced some things in the memo. I'll let you share any comments on that first.
We have been in touch with Nitro, and we have been in touch with St. Albans, who are our 2 closest neighbors, and South Charleston. They are collecting money. And so they just said, you know, their comment was, we would be silly not to take the money they're going to bring in to us. I mean, they're actually collecting it. Seems kind of like a Ponzi scheme is what our concept is, but the thing of it is, they're going out and bringing businesses in, getting them registered, and they're paying B&O taxes. And we're losing 50% of what they bring, but we're not getting anything from them right now. So, but that was their recommendation that we ought to proceed with it. So.
Any questions for the mayor or comments? And for that, this discussion, any other council member can question or share their thoughts also.
Is there any other companies that expressed an interest in the same program?
I don't think so.
I mean,
I didn't know.
I think this
I've
is,
never been
they've
froze.
got the market tied up.
Okay.
Jim?
They're gonna go after landlords, everybody, right?
No, no,
Landlords?
no.
No.
When I asked their treasurer, Nitros, the other day at the audit meeting, he said, I would never dream of these people that they're getting. He said, it's money that we're getting that wasn't getting, he said. And the only one he threw out to me was, the Bank of America. Now, what does Bank of America have to do in the city of Dunbar? I don't know.
Online banking, bro.
Who knows? Or somebody could have a credit card through them. I don't know. You know, but that's the only one he threw out at me that got a $35,000 check from him. So that's all he said. He said it was money we didn't have, and now we do have, even if it's half.
In your memo, the mayor mentioned the possibility, if we push towards that, we would use those unexpected monies, at least for the first year, towards the fireman's pension fund, in case that was in the memo, in case you didn't see that. Mike, you have a question? I can see something moving around.
I was just thinking, you know, I'm not crazy about this scheme to begin with. You know, and to me, it is a scheme. But the bottom line is, we're not putting up any money. We're not signing any long-term commitments. So in essence, what we have to lose.
We don't. In my personal, like I said before, I'll be drug in, but I'm being drug in because, like I said, what's going to happen is once they get Nitro, St. Albans, they tie the noose on you. And then everybody else is taken out of our pockets, then is what it'll turn out. So I'm kind of like you, I'm not a fan at all, but we're getting drug into it, whether we like it or not.
If we get an extra 15, 20, 30,000 bucks out of it right off the bat, hey,
Just keep in mind, whatever it is, it's a
Right.
one-time shot though. In 5 years, he's out of Dodge probably.
So will they continue to pay?
As long as we keep.
But they're not getting anything at all.
Well,
After the first 2 years, then we keep 100% of what that business brings into the city.
If they continue to pay.
No, well, if they continue to pay,
So if they don't continue to pay, then what will we do?
we turn them over to Atkins.
So go back to it again.
But by then.
So we're still-
It's not the fact that, the fact is that they're not paying,
They don't know.
they don't know to pay.
Yeah.
They don't, once people comes in and gets licensed with us, that automatic puts them on the B&O. They get a B&O statement from us.
Okay.
Those generally come back to us whether they, you know, for instance, if a contractor gets it and he didn't do any work in our, city in that quarter, then he sends it back and he puts zeros in it, you know. But yes, once they get licensed with us, we constantly send them notices, it's time to renew your license, you know, if they don't, we send them another notice, or we try to contact them and find out if they're still doing business in Dunbar, you know. Once you get a license, that's what sends out B&O. And it's all trustworthy, it's not like we're building,
They're gonna identify companies that we're unaware of.
that we're not aware
And
of.
in 2 years, we're gonna be aware of them, and we'll be able to play them.
The thing is, right now, you're allowed to go back 5 years, so they will go back 5 years on these companies. That's why they're going to get the money, a little bit more money now up front than 2 years from now.
For a second time, are we comfortable enough to ask the mayor to put that on the agenda next time?
Yeah,
We discussed it 2 or 3 times, and maybe time.
I mean, that's all you know.
Anything else I've missed other than the budget? Okay, we'll move on to our budget then, and thank Connie and the mayor together, the mayor for presenting numbers to her and Connie getting everything ready. So you've had your budget since Thursday. Hopefully you've taken time to go over. I know it's eye glazing at times. Hopefully you took time to go over it. And what we'll do is just hit a few high points and then. Yes. Oh, yes, just make, one note on your notes there as well. It says 1819, should say 1920.
Yes.
Thank you, Connie Thompson, for that. We'll start from giving just an overview of each section. And then as we start working through it, with each department. We'll give a chance for that department head to share. Do they have, Connie, do they have copies of this as well, department heads, of the rough draft that we're starting from?
No.
Okay. We'll work through and let them share if they have requests.
Yes,
or-
no, they do not. They just have copies of the old, other budget.
Okay.
Mayor Gibbons.
We'll start with that first page, which is interesting, looking at the breakdown of the departments and by your expenses. The roll glasses on, Mike. It's hardly, but you see the salaries, which is the norm these days, is 42%. Generally, any organization like this is going to be between 35 and 50, and hopefully closer to 35, so that's where we're at. But the scary thing is our insurance, how much that is. And then your pensions, but you see all that broken down. And then on the left hand and the right hand by department or by category. Any questions for the clerk on this? And again, this is not our primary purpose tonight, but it's just a nice snapshot at the beginning to see our departments and percentages. And again, this is nothing we change, that's a reflection of what is. Any questions for the clerk? Thank you. Are you making some copies for the?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Your second page is your revenues. You see those broken down into the last several years. Show you where we've been, and an average, and then projected for 1920. And again, on these revenues, these are much more fluid. Some things Connie will get in a few weeks. A few weeks when you get the final numbers on all property taxes for the flood.
Yes.
But at present, she is not privy to that. So this is a guesstimate. Yeah, it's a guesstimate on B&O, all the different things there. These are guesstimates, but they're safe ones based upon prior precedents. You see that the guesstimate right there, the totals. Any questions on the total, which is coming pretty close to our average? It's down some from this year on the estimate, because, and again, there's some reasons. One, that's still an estimate because the year's not done, but also there won't be as much streetscape, which is in those numbers and things like that. So, any questions on the revenue side?
Things like the dog award that we're budgeting for now that we don't have that dog award, what we're going to do is keep the line on it.
Your expenses, now, right?
Well, in the whole
On
stuff.
the revenue side.
Okay.
On the revenue side, do you have any questions for Connie? And again, these are, the revenue side, we don't have much say over it. It's a guesstimate, and then what it is what it is, because much of our revenue, again, comes from set standards and percentages, your B&O and property taxes. So we have limited control. Any questions for Mayor or any comments?
The whole question I have on the 1% sales tax, we're showing $100,000 increase, is that correct?
What number on the three?
$314.
314.
The average last 3 years was $650, and we're budgeting $750 for
But you
1920.
can see this year is on track for over 750 for this current year, and the last update you gave us was showing that to
If
you.
you look,
Right on track.
if you look in the column 2018-19, 6 months, Connie, and for 6 months, we had brought in 394. So if you double that, it's basically, that's why.
See, that average also includes that first year, which was not all the quarters. That's why the average is pulled down. But I think those numbers that the clerk has given us, based on our trends, is pretty accurate at 3/4.
And there's things that as we went through each line by line, we felt like, maybe, we were going to be able to bring more in, and for some reason or another, as the mayor and I went through them, looking at them, we could go one by one if y'all like. But that was like the 3 years average, and just put an average amount in there. So that was an estimated budget of $6,456,200.
That payment in lieu of taxes, is that Charlie the only one? in that?
I think there's one other one that pays, it's a small amount.
It's number 371.
Yeah, it was somebody I did last week, I think. I can't remember who it was.
Oh, so there is another one?
Seems like there was.
Okay.
Any other questions? Again, we have in a sense, limited control over this, but we have to have it as a base point to start from.
Just on 308, did the hotel change? Is it now somebody else besides Dunbar Plaza?
It's Econo Lodge.
Do we
It's
think-
owned by Choice Inns.
Do we think we'll see any kind of major increase from that with the park and all that?
We're not gonna see it until the middle to the end of summer.
Okay.
But
Just wondering.
it's, Econo Lodge is not one of the premier places for people to stay. I mean, the people that are in travel sports are usually Holiday Inn Express, Ramada Inn, and,
Or higher.
I understand.
so,
You see a lot more vehicles on the lot over there now than you did.
Yeah, there's a lot of construction guys.
Yes.
there's a totally different management situation going on there. The Choice Inn has their own manager managing the facility to ensure that everything is maintained to their standards. So,
And then one thing we gotta remember too, on grants, the streetscape, that's right,
Yes.
was a big project in this year's budget. And that's, over 200, almost $300,000, it's not gonna be there. So that's, if you see why last year it was 7 point something, and this year it's 6 point, that's, that was a
$500
big,
million there was.
that was a big revenue.
And one last quick note before we turn the page, you see at the very bottom, the new budget is 6.6, and almost 6.7. That includes the rollover from this year to flush that out. So that's the revenues plus our rollover going into this total number for this year's budget.
I mean, if you look at what Brian did, he, under the 2018-19 projected finish out of the year, he took what had been collected, as Connie said, in the first 6 months up until January, and then simply multiplied it by 2 to get the finish for the year. Now, we know that taxes in lieu of is not going to be more than $19,000. That is going to be what it is. And so it's not going to be the number that he has projected. So if you look over in the proposed budget, we have gone through and rationalized a lot of those numbers, because some of them are happen in a 6-month period and some of them happen over a 12-month period. So we have to kind of go back and rationalize some of that.
Okay, we'll jump in on the expense side, starting on the first page, 1 of 9 in the 400s. Insurance, again, to reference that there's not much we can do other than be thankful that the projected is down 125. See, halfway through the year, we're just slightly under 500. The mayor's office, item 409. Excuse me.
May I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
It being down, there again, he has took what we paid out for 6 months and doubled it. We put that extra 100,000 in there for all them 4 claims
They're still pending.
that's still pending. So that's something just to keep in mind. We might have to go back and tack it on there.
Then we get to 409 mayor's office. Considering you laid out the rough draft of this, I'm assuming you're satisfied with that category.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Question I had, just for own clarification from last year, I've forgotten professional services. What all are we including in that? Because that's in most departments, but I can't remember what all is included in that. Connie, what do we have in that?
It's kind of a catch-all if you have to have somebody come in and do some type of an audit or just additional legal fees or something that you might need in a particular department.
It's almost a contingency type thing.
Yep, pretty much.
$7,500, right?
Let's see.
It's 1,000.
Is it
It was
1,000?
1,000.
So you reduced it down to 5.
500.
Yeah, it's when we put
Okay, well, we can move on. Again, this mayor proposed his, so unless any of you have a question, I mean, it's in line, actually reduced 2,000 from last year.
My deal with it, and it's going to go through every one of them on the salaries up here. I know that pays how many salaries out of your department, of the mayor's office. Here's you, the treasurer, but I mean, how many people does that pay?
2.5 you and a secretary and a part-time secretary.
No, there's just me and secretary.
Okay.
It's you and the secretary,
And
okay?
Renee still comes out.
Oh, Renee's still in that one?
Okay, that's what I thought there was a third,
That's what
just
I'm saying.
like a floater.
Here's the one, now all these, as we go through, we just have a big bulk of salaries, but we don't know how many people, like in your department, how many people are getting paid out. first
And
part.
actually, if, of course, I did, you have that info from last year.
Yeah, last year we had.
Last year, when I give a spreadsheet on all the people's, and you probably got it on the payroll there, Connie, probably in that book under payroll.
Yeah,
It'll be,
I
it'll
actually
be
did a,
newer though, right? Because
But we updated it with the raises in there.
Okay.
that was
Pretty
last
sure
year.
with the estimate we did in there. So we can give that next time at the next budget meeting. All the people in that salary broke down per department.
Yeah, at some point, if you're gonna consider raises, you gotta consider what the impact is on the salary. This line item anticipates there's no raise for any department. This is just,
At this
It's
time.
just straight out.
based on going level.
What we'll try to do is, at least by the next meeting, figure out where we think we can go on non-union raises, so it can be edited back in. Fire police is separate in negotiations committee. But like they said, this reflects current salaries.
Right.
Council, again, it's pretty much cut and dry. The only variation is if we have to call a special meeting, that's $800 or $1,600 each time we call a special meeting. But other than that, it's pretty much cut and dry. Any questions though on the council budget? Same as last year. Again, our salaries cannot change during the 4-year term, so that's pretty much all it is the salary and what comes out of it. Everybody comfortable with council? Then we'll go to the clerk's office, and Connie, again, you worked to help build this, but anything you have to share about it first, or anything you would like to adjust, and then any questions we have?
Not at this point. That's pretty much the same.
Any questions you have for Connie? And again, she said it's the same amount from last year carryover. Pretty much most items are the same, and this includes your salaries, includes your full staff, because I know, like, coming into last year, we were down 1, is that right? And then now, since we hired Miles White from Charles Department.
Well, that was still salary. That was still.
That just fill the blank.
Fill the blank, okay? Okay. Any questions? You see, everything's pretty much carryover from last year in all the different categories.
Can I ask a question about salaries?
Go ahead, Chief.
Well, the police department, it looks like it's the same from this fiscal year to the next, it's 757,000. If I look at it right, fire department has an increase of 73,000.
We'll get to that. I think I know the answer. We'll get to that as we're working our way through. Thank you, Chief. Any other question on the clerk's side? You okay, comfortable with forward? We'll get to the police judge. And again, this one changes some over last year. And you can look down and see the different categories. Traditionally, it's in remittance of fees collected is a change, and salaries is a change. I think if we go ahead and Connie clarifies for the mayor on the change in salaries.
Well, actually, I don't know. That's probably could be reduced some. But we're basing it on what's been paid out this year. And we think about this. See, we were a little high this year because we had Judy in there for a month.
Yeah.
And training the next person. So really, that should really come down.
Yeah, the other thing you have to look at, like I said before, if you look on the expense side, we're just assuming that we're gonna spend twice as much as.
If we did the first 6 months.
You know, it's gonna be double. So a lot of these items are potentially gonna be over, and some may be under by the time we get to the end of the year. So there should be,
So really, we should at least reduce that back down to 46. As last year's.
well, our court fees are, our.
Salaries.
Okay, salaries, but
The budget for this year was 46, and we budgeted 52 for next year. We don't need to increase it until we get right.
Until we do across the boards.
Right.
If we do across.
So we'll put that back down to 46 like it was previously.
It's working at 46K unless we make across the board changes.
Right,
And then the other, you see just a few adjustments, training, which there's more and more required
yeah.
with the state codes. Remittance of fees collected, explain that to us, how that works. That's your court me right now.
That's your court fee.
Yeah, they are small, so it's easy to understand on that one. Any other questions about the police judge? And again, your total increase of 13,750 will be reduced by 6,000 with that change in the salary line.
The training and education up $1,000.
Yes. And that's what they have to do to keep up with all the changes in state code.
Certifications and stuff.
Yeah, primarily because there's so many law changes coming in, and the chief of police can probably reference that, even though it's the judge, but that's the training for all the new code changes, correct, chief, that he has to be aware of.
Okay.
Thank you, clerk.
You have to go to the municipal judges class and court class and
Good deal.
every single year.
So with that one change on salary, everybody comfortable with the police judge? City attorney, it stays the same. The question I had is, do we know the history on this? Do we have the authority to set his rates, or does he at times, every so many years, choose to bid at a higher rate? How does that work?
So we said it.
Okay. Okay. Is he comfortable staying at this rate?
Probably,
Okay.
I'd say probably yes. Way off more than what he ever did before, but I mean, things are higher, but yeah.
Let's put it this way, it used to be 17,000, then we paid close to 100,000, and we're down to 25, so I think we're in good shape.
Everybody comfortable with that? Again, it's the same as last year on the city attorney contract fee. Regional Development Authority, again, it's just a rollover. That's all the paperwork and subscriptions, the things we have to have.
It should be Regional Intergovernmental Council.
Okay. So you just change that in your notes, Regional Intergovernmental Council.
That's part of what comes into that code, 235, that's already that set in the state.
I can look at that. Brian can force it in there somewhere.
Okay, and then you, next one we have, this is our first department head to speak, building inspector, Hugh Leishman. You see a couple things. And first question, even before I ask you, it shows salaries reduced. Have we downsized something, or what is that?
Probably just, no, we still got.
Yeah, it's great. Rick's still working.
I have no idea.
Because it was 58 projected. I know Brian has doubled, so that comes out to, so did we estimate too high last year, or have we had any changes?
I think we had some of Renee in there last year.
I think
Could be.
Renee was in the part of last year, and she got moved to the mayor's office.
Okay, so the 50 would be accurate based on Brian's projections. Because right now, half the way through the year was just below 25.
What's building inspectors?
42. According to Sean.
That would be only
What is the
8,000.
ordinance?
That'd
And
only
then
be
it depends, I
8,000.
guess, maybe Greg didn't work as much, maybe. So far, you were out some being sick this year. So that could be,
I mean, plus last year I requested no raises.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that made a difference. And the same thing this year,
right,
no raises.
right. How much are you allowed to make? Do you have any idea what we're allowed for you to make?
No, I just know what I make now is fine.
We just don't want that one.
Yeah.
Should we go with 52 to be safe though?
That's what
Because
we're-
from 42 to 50 is only 8,000. That's not much wiggle room for any part-time work.
Agree.
We can do,
Let's go 52 to be safe on that.
You have something that
It will,
you kind of.
yeah, let's look through.
Well, I mean, the easiest way to do is figure out what his hourly rate is.
I thought there was something else you were thinking about.
12.
Well, 2,000, well, no, he works, what do you work, 20 hours a week? So 1,020 hours times 12.
The only other thing before we have it, see if you has any other questions. New equipment, you had 4,500 this year, you spent very little, so it's reduced to
What was that one?
new equipment.
Last year we had my new computer, which was several $1,000s.
And this year so far is minimal. Now next year is to sound okay, or
I don't think there's anything in barring some catastrophic electronic failure that I'm gonna need, so yeah, I'll be playing.
Yeah, so notes we had said that you're comfortable with this, but I want to give you a shot. Are you comfortable with your department, or any of your requests, things we need?
My big thing is training and education at 1,000. I think I've probably spent more than that.
Some of that may have been paid and not trickled back through yet, and that reflects December 31, so we're farther along.
Yeah, because I've got a couple conferences to go to, and some dues to pay, and classes. My building inspector certification classes are 140 a session, plus plus staying overnight. So we're looking at 300 and some bucks at 4 times a year.
So it's 1,200.
There's 1,200 right there, and then I've got floodplain association dues and conference, code official dues. Might want to bump that up 1,000.
Your dues jump it up to 1,500?
You're talking about training and education, right?
Training and education, bump it up to 2,000.
Okay.
Probably won't use it all, but
Dues and next one line underneath it,
what do we got there, 250?
No, it's
500.
500 this year.
That should cover all my dues.
But you're,
Okay, well, basically, Connie and I were talking about, she just looked at the last short budget, we probably ought to take salary back, just basically leave his budget the way it is, 81,750 for the total budget.
so that would increase the salary back to 58 like projected last year.
Right.
Okay.
The salaries are 58.
And Connie's let me know from last year showing projection, if Greg works 1,300 hours, and again, this year you have it, I don't think it's why it's down, but if you work 1,300 hours,
15,000.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that would,
and two of them together. Yeah, so we need to up it back up.
and that would also, keep it within that 81,750. That would increase the salary, that would also bump up your FICA and Medicare, your retirement.
We'll
Those
have to
numbers
change
all
all
come
that
back
too.
up.
We'll change that to whatever falls in line, that percentage.
The only reduction would probably be under new equipment under 436, where it's 4,500, take it to 2,000, which would drop the whole thing to 79,750. Left everything as is presented.
Now that, the clerk will get all these edits done for us by next, is that,
What all does supplies include?
Whatever, supplies,
Like paper products and things like that?
Yeah.
Because I steal your all's paper.
I know you do.
Good job, you.
Everybody steals our paper, isn't that right?
But that's your contingency plan.
That's your rainy day fund.
what we can do, if your training goes beyond, it's all within 436, so we can adjust the supplies back to
Yes.
training.
As long as
My
we
biggest-
said that
My biggest
online.
expense on supplies is ink, and I try and use this as much as I can, so.
So are you comfortable with your
But
department?
yeah, that way, I mean, if you're putting it back up minus $2,000 to last year, then that's fine. Because I don't think we're anywhere close to spending all of that.
Everybody on committee, okay? Questions from council?
Yeah, I mean, look what you spent so far this 6 months,
You know,
$600.
y'all can pay me more if you want, I'll still want money.
We'll move
No, you
on.
won't, no, you won't.
We'll move on from building inspector again. There'll be a couple corrections, or edits, not corrections, edits that Connie will make. You'll make notes for yourself on those, so you can go back and look. Planning and zoning, this is within $100, it's reduced to $100. You see that's on the software side. Any questions on planning and zoning? That would come under you also, right?
Yes.
Planning and zoning, okay.
There's very, very little expense to that.
Okay.
Mostly printing if we have to do anything, or, because the committees are free, and if we have to buy a map or something.
Everybody okay, planning and zoning? Okay, let's jump on to election expense, and Connie, and again, we budget 5,000, went over just a little last year. Do we have an election this year, or is that?
We will, this will be the primary.
Okay,
Primary will be in May, so that'll come out of this budget. Primary 2020,
2020.
right? This is 19, so next year, May will be 20.
Yeah, because we're on the
That'll be
presidential,
primary.
we're on the presidential cycle now.
General election will be in November, and they take office 21st. This is our one more year, guys.
Because we're on the new cycle with
21st or
the
January 1st?
presidential cycle.
21,
Oh,
Should
January
the primary be in
1st.
April?
April, May, or
Yeah,
something.
usually what you
It'll be
do-
May, probably, whatever the general is.
So we'll call this.
Yes, and then the general will be in November, and then they'll
That'll
take
be in
office
next
in
year.
January.
That'll be
The next.
So we got.
Yeah. So we'll have one election in this fiscal year. That's your primary, so that's your 10,000.
And it may come way under that.
Yeah, based on our levy, it was 55.
But we'll have a little
56.
bit, our levy was only this big, and now we'll have the whole thing in the balance, so it might run it, I don't know, just, what it's gonna cost us.
Any other questions on?
So we can reduce it some.
I'd say we'd rather keep it there.
Yeah, to be safe.
Any other questions on election expense? We'll jump to City Hall, and again, I'm assuming that one, there's some changes there. If you look through your professional services have been adjusted, maintenance and utilities went down a little in the projection based on the numbers. Professional service went from 5 to 10.
And that could be reduced. What that professional service is our Title V. We have 5 of them.
Okay.
So we could continue to have 5. I don't know how many, we're allowed to have.
That is a
So-
good deal, though. You gotta keep that in mind, it is an expense.
So we can take it back to 5.
How Title V works is we pay,
1,500 each.
We pay 1,500 each, we get a year, that's all we pay.
yeah,
It was 1,500 apiece.
No, it's 1,250, wasn't it?
Well, judging from, we paid 4,200 this year.
I think we took some of it out of, one of them's down at Bernie's.
Yeah.
He pays for it.
I got 2, you got 1, down there got 1.
We got 2. One of them.
either way, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Any adjustment on that, Connie, based on the numbers?
Yeah.
Does that sound accurate?
Do you want to take it down?
Well, as long, if you can think we can take it down with actually taking it down number equally again. Because we don't want to lose, it'd be done for us to cut off.
What it is,
Title V
you do have 5,
I would take it,
sanitation pays for one of them, when it goes
So it
down.
would really be 4 in this case.
Yes, so, and we're paying $1,056.
That was already right out of 1,100.
So that would really be back to the 5,000, then, correct?
Yeah.
To cover 4.
but I would take that 5,000 and put it down into new equipment. If we lose an air conditioning unit or something like that.
So make sure everybody understands what the mayor's mentioned, it wouldn't
So
change
we're
your
gonna move that
totals,
to 5.
but your professional service would go from 10 down to 5. And then you move the
Yeah.
extra 5 down to new equipment,
So we're gonna make new equipment 7,000.
7,500. And then, like you said, the new AC
Okay.
unit and all that is easily that. Any other questions on City Hall? Check that off. Maintenance and repair, other bills. And I have a quick question that may relate to this. The salt bin and the Roxalana fire repair, those two things, where do they fit in at? Which one of these are maintenance categories?
The
I don't want to jump in.
salt bin is a separate item.
Okay, and I missed it.
We
Looking
haven't,
at it.
we haven't got to it yet.
And, because I'm thinking with this being maintenance and repair of buildings, is that where the drainage we promised last year haven't got to yet, Roxalana, is that coming into that category or do we have somewhere else? Because I know things are not listed by name in this budget, but I'm just trying to find where that's at, see if we got enough in maintenance and repair of 20,000.
We could take it out of that.
Because
We can say that.
the last proposed estimate was 23 for that repair. I think. Does that sound right from memory, 23,000
Yes.
for the drainage?
Chris, does that sound right?
Yeah.
Right.
But this also includes other things, that is, other buildings. and maintenance.
Well, I think originally this 20 was put in there for the salt bin.
Okay.
And then we found out how much that salt bin was really gonna,
Is the salt bin in the MS or?
Yes.
Okay.
yes. So, I mean, so if we would make this other building to repair fire up there, then we all need to remember that.
We'll just write it
And we'll
out.
just put it there and,
We'd have to adjust our numbers some though,
Right.
because that was around 23, that's been a year, so it'd be safe to figure 25 with inflation. And then there's still other repairs that this covers for things that beach fixes in all the buildings, right? Commodes, doors. You understand that's what this line item's for.
well, no, in the building's ground, but the maintenance and repair, we got 30,000 there.
Okay,
That's where we take most of all the repairs that's done out
This is.
beyond the city hall
Safety
or,
valve.
okay.
yeah.
So we taking that to 25?
If we want to make that designated for that repair, we probably better be 25, just to, or else we'll be coming back to a council meeting and saying we're over budget.
You're talking about maintenance and repair?
Of course,
Yeah, 441.
have we,
Other buildings just say maintenance and repair, fire station too.
so far, we took one reduction, and that's been in the police judge.
And we had 2 reductions, I think there was something,
Planning and zoning,
that was down a little,
$100.
So just putting that to 100,000.
yeah, once we get that.
Saying how much we have gathered up so far.
We'll have to-
We'll just have to see what the carry over.
Okay, let's go to 567, and I understand what you're saying, but we got to work our way through it. 567, buildings and grounds, who was that coming under for sure? And that's Scott, right? All your stuff, not public works, but just buildings and grounds.
This is
Yeah, that's
beach.
Beach.
Okay. Okay, so that's beach, and then,
We still have 2 people.
JT, what's his guy? JT?
Yes,
YT, okay.
but so far, YT has still been coming out of the street department's budget.
We need
Well,
to,
sometimes he's there, sometimes he's with beach. So, I mean,
we didn't fool with that
Okay, yeah,
salary item because it's, right now, it's making Scott's budget kind of bloated up because YT is 100% on him. We had to figure out a way to make adjustments to put him partly under this and partly under Scott.
the only change in that proposed is a reduction in maintenance, not in the actual employees' numbers. Any questions, or Jim, do you have a question on buildings and grounds?
Just looking at the salaries, it's a little bit more on the salary sheet than what we have budgeted. What the mayor, David Eastwood, I guess that'd be.
Yeah, David
Yeah.
would,
Yeah,
Okay, he's not here anymore.
but we're not taking YT's salary.
Okay.
He's working with Beach, but he's being charged to Scott's budget, so we need to get that
this allows room to put YT back in there,
Okay.
back in that capital.
when he's actually working with Beach.
I use him as a trash man or whatever. If there's nothing they need him for, I put him on a trash truck or wherever he's needed during the day. If it's a project that Beach needs him for twice, manpower to help him, then he goes.
so you think Scott we should be 50/50?
That'd be great.
So, we can adjust that starting this next pay period. We'll start adjusting half of YT's to come out of street and half of it come out of buildings and ground and bring it back up. But otherwise, we should probably think about, let's see, Beach. If we're looking at YT, just to give you an idea. Of course, his name's not
You say,
YT.
what's his name?
Leon.
Nelson.
Leon. And Beach.
You don't even want to know the story.
Yeah, there'll be a reduction because there's about $1.25 less from one to the other.
What we can do is, when we come back, Connie will have more exact numbers then, bumping him over, so we don't take too long on that tonight.
It's probably still gonna bring, got that
Pretty
same
close.
amount, yep.
Okay. Everybody comfortable with buildings and grounds? We'll move on.
But we still have $6,000 reduction.
Yes. The parking facility, again, that's pretty standard. Everything stays the same, utilities and maintenance. Someday we're going to spend some money on part of it because it's looking rough, but for this year it stays the same, at least in the recommendation. contingency, and right now, that stays empty until we move in, get more details. Everybody understand that, how the contingency works. If we go into police department, chief, police, we're years now, and you have a copy now, you got your ones.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and again, he had the question, the fire and correct me if I'm wrong, the fire salary, the reason it looks different is because the first part of the year was down one fireman, now we're up to full numbers, is that correct? Well, it looks like yours is went up, okay. Help me
Now, the
out.
fireman is, if you look over on the firemen,
Just
we're
706.
at 369, versus 370, and twice that would be 740. If you look back at the police department, they're at 322, and really twice that would be 644, but we left the full 757 in there because there's more people.
Because we did budget on your whole staff in the.
I could burn this money up in the next 4 months.
What's in there for?
But if I may make a few comments, is I knew that you put the new officers in, or 3 officers. Of course, with the Civil Service Commission, we met the other night. And with the city, we're gonna try to hire 2 more, and go into the roughly September's class. And then, we'll have 5 promotions between now and August. 3 will go to corporal, someone will make sergeant, someone will make lieutenant. So there'll be an increase in just hourly for those 5, and then 5 new officers. But
So in other words, the 757, even though it looks like it's over budget, we're heading that direction. That's what you're saying.
Oh, it will be,
Yeah, the,
because we
yes,
put
I knew
the,
that was listed high when you started, because clerk and I did talk about that.
And back to your other, with clear case, not the fire got any raise since the last budget, it's just we've under projected, looks like, in the fire
I just think
expenses.
that for several departments.
But we've had to look over, and the only thing I'll mention before I just turn it over to you to ask any questions or anything you want to propose. The DEA grant, those changes are where we lost Officer Hudson to, what was his rank? I forgot.
He was assigned to DA
Yeah.
as the,
What was his rank? I don't want to call him a patrol, but
he was a
so his-
lieutenant when he retired, or when he resigned.
So that's affected those grants, but otherwise you see the rest of your numbers pretty much tracking down. So Chief, you have time now.
If you are-
Anything you want to ask?
You are good with the stuff I don't understand as far as retirement and all that.
We have 15
I would go to auto maintenance,
He's in auto maintenance, line 17.
so chief, how many guys you have now, counting you?
counting me and 3 in the academy, 14.
no.
Yeah, 14 counting.
Got 3 guys in the academy.
So we have 15 factored in the budget right now. Now, one of the things is you got a lot of overtime because we got way down in
Right, we're paying.
Right.
We don't fill too many shifts to spend on vacation. The biggest chunk of our expenditure when it comes to salaries is the court. The more they work, the more they get a court, and that's a 4-hour payout each time we go.
We got 15 plus the chief, so he's,
So we need to look at, maybe go back and look at, because court is active. I mean, there's
Yes,
4 or 5 officers in
not
here.
bad when I go back.
4 hours.
I mean, isn't there like 3 or 4, 5 officers sometimes in that?
Yeah,
Minimum.
on the same case.
So you're at line 17 on auto maintenance, you had a question or?
I would just think that would need increase, because
That's what
you can see
we're,
where we're at now.
yeah, that's what we're running into all departments because of,
For the remainder of this fiscal year, I anticipate probably putting tires on 1, maybe 2 cars, putting new tires on everything. That'll be good till July 1.
the chief is mentioning the auto maintenance line, looking like it's too low. And again, these are going up for fire and police and everybody because we lost the mechanics, so we're subbing out. That pushes the price up on. It reduces the salary, but then we have to adjust those other lines to make up for it. So the chief has mentioned that.
How much more?
Sorry, Jim.
How much of that anymore?
What do you think, looking at your cars?
I have, I'm just gonna pass it around, I'm gonna go through it, but I have the every vehicle listed in the condition.
That was my next question.
But
So how many do we
how much
have?
are you talking about adding to the item?
How good are they? Are we going to have big ones?
Even if you would just double what we spent this year would be 78. So if we would just take it up to 8,000.
I guess
17 on
16
17.
or 17. Not even 7,000.
Skip over the invitation part, but in there somewhere is a list that has listed all the vehicles. We're just going to ask for 2 vehicles this year, this coming fiscal year. I have.
No. As you're scanning that, the second item on firearms you see is a DEA seizure count, so it wouldn't affect our budget. It's good, which is something to breathe a sigh of relief for. And Connie, how much is in that account?
Which one?
DEA seizure account?
I did not.
3436.
Okay, I didn't print.
4,000.
Yes, but you got one left from last week.
36, somewhere.
DEA seizures.
I mean, the escrow account, there's 30-some thousand in
I
here.
have it here.
If somebody has them, I don't
There
have.
you
I just stored them after.
Escrow is 39. Local seizures is 38.
So you have enough money in both of those
Well,
accounts
that's
to
local
buy
seizures.
vehicles.
I'm sorry.
Did you have enough in both of those accounts to buy 2 vehicles?
You've got police escrow, pending seizures, and that's got some restrictions. Local seizures is 38. Now, the DEA, federal and state, are those ones that are available to use also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's 14 in one and 36 in another.
That's the DA, that's one.
Okay, so you got 36 and change there, 14, so you got 50,000 between those two.
What?
That's your DEA state and DEA federal. The state is 36 and change, the federal is the 14 and change.
Then you have the escrow.
Yeah, then you've got escrow, that has 39 and change.
Yes,
The
sir.
MDN, you got
And
MDN?
MDN, I don't know if we're allowed, what about MDN? We may have restrictions on MDNs.
On some things, it's, yeah, you can't buy it.
There's 34 in there.
There's no.
Yeah, there's 34 in it, that's restricted. But the other three we mentioned, those 50 is 90,000 that is workable.
See, the firearms and vehicles, anticipated 2 big expenses. Our handguns are 6 years old, that's about the time you change them. Our shotguns are 25 to 30 years old, I believe, Captain Elliott.
94, they were bought in 94.
The shotguns,
The shotguns, they are from about 2002.
Be careful, this is being video streamed, people see how bad our equipment is.
It's true.
I'm just joking.
Right, but I mean, those have actually been taken offline right now, we're not using them. Our thoughts where we'd like to purchase new firearms, there is a sheet in here that Lieutenant Schaefer typed up, what the price would be. Roughly be about $20,000 for new handguns, that's got cover the holster and everything. Like to buy four new shotguns, and the remainder of that money apply towards the vehicles. Over that DEA account, that 36.
Not to rush you along, but looking at it, I think, now the headquarters part, as far as your office, that's something we need to look at, and as far as an actual repair out the budget, but the other two, the cruisers and firearms, I think if we get some more details, we may be able to do those as separate items out of those accounts, which is separate from the budget.
Yes, and that wouldn't necessarily carry over next fiscal year, right, take care of that.
And may I suggest, we're looking at, this is February, March, April, May, June, 4 months left. We still got, might be to take them out of this current budget to buy guns. Out of, he's got $9,000 left.
we could, or unless
Right.
we need to use some of that for their physical repair of the building. Whereas I don't think we want to get into seizures for those kind of things.
Oh, no, you
Seizures-
can't. You couldn't get
used
seizures for
firearms and things.
building
Is there
repairs.
anything like?
Building shouldn't have no repairs, it's brand new
Well,
building.
it's got here, what he does have is a valid concern, when you walk in, it's just plexiglass there, separating them. It's a request for, safety.
The little door,
Plexiglass.
it's about 29 by 42. We could put it in.
I would say we'd take that out of building.
Buildings and grounds.
Right.
You have money in buildings.
The carpet, Teresa's office is torn, a few places, tripping hazard, I'm sure. Brooks Street would like to see it.
Those small things we take out.
And we'd like to paint, but as noted in there, we can buy 3 gallons of paint.
It's
Some of the
inexpensive
officers,
stuff.
well, the officers are
You
volunteer.
can take it out of your budget now.
Right, I'm just putting, Charles going, I'm just letting you know what we're projecting on doing.
Do we have, from us, I think money wise, we're okay already with this line of line on that, but do we have a commitment from us, instead of hashing out a separate line or thinking that when he makes the request that we do this though, on this building, to go for plexiglass to protection, and then,
I think,
He can do that.
yeah, no,
Right
right
now.
now, we're on board as well, so we don't spend more time on the budget, but that we all agree when it comes, we're not gonna throttle it down or anything, but to go with.
That was just projected what I'd like to have between now and July 1, and about this budget.
He wasn't gonna help.
And that, and any emergencies like you said, we're not gonna have any repairs done for the 1920 budget.
And make a proposal to us with Lieutenant Schaefer also on the weapons and things as well, because you got the exact guidelines on those seizures that we don't, to know what to get. And that could be done anytime, since that's not in the budget, it's not reflected before or after July 1.
Right.
And those are things that are desperately needed, because again, what'd you say, the shotgun's 1994, Scott?
Shotgun jet, never bought the year I got hired.
it was all right.
Does that mean they're worn out?
Yes.
Yeah, other than Bill.
And Captain, retired Captain Allen also said that ARs were.
They are,
Big crank.
those ARs shouldn't have been bought, that style.
I've seen them, and they're nothing to get excited about.
Well, like I said, maybe the old back then,
Yes.
not usable for a lot of people.
I'm with Connie, if we have money in our account, let's get the guns now, they need guns.
Yeah, so, I mean, that would be
That's a
something,
deer overall.
No, no,
Right, so that was-
that would be something that you all
Thing that-
stay out of the east
Work
end.
in would be the people.
But as far as to get that ball rolling, I'll see if you could even have a proposal by our next finance committee, because, yeah, we'll try to make sure that you, out of your other monies you've got to do that, because, again, that is a very valid concern. I never thought of that until I just read it a minute ago. When you walk in, I mean, I'm in there frequently. In today's day and age, anybody can walk in and blow Teresa away in a second, or whoever's behind you.
People up there now.
What's that?
Really big concern about in the clerk's office.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
And angry people coming in. So we're comfortable with police.
Over here, this.
Yeah, again, salaries, we'll come back to, but for that, everybody comfortable on the police part? Mike, you all right with it?
Yeah.
School guards, there's only $250 change in that. And that was on salary, just based on where we're at halfway when Brian dealt with it. So, any questions on school guard? Yeah, that just looks like where we're at. No additional
There's
questions.
two, my understanding. One, I'm gonna do, and then.
Annabelle, yeah.
Anna Bolster was not there, she came back.
No, she did not come back yet.
She's had some surgery.
So let's move on from school guards. Now, we come to fire departments. Do we want, Chief, do you want us to start one of yours now, or let's take a recess and everybody take a break for the restrooms and come back refreshingly? Which do you want to do with it?
I'm gonna need a few minutes, so you probably should.
Let's take,
We may not come back.
let's wait. We have to have a motion for a recess. Not adjournment, but a recess.
I make a motion, we take a
Motion,
recess.
I got
And be back at 6 o'clock, please.
Hey, you got your. Hourly rate. That's why I know. That's why.
Where I could work some more so hard in the summer when the grass is gonna be back.
Any of you
Sit back
guys,
here and talk on.
I mean, like this past summer, I mean, there's times I did work.
It sounds good out here.
if anybody has any
No,
questions, let me introduce you all to Brian.
Yeah.
Brian Young right here is our
I mean,
CPA.
It'll be up to you.
I mean, if they could knock it down to like $10 an hour.
CTA.
I made money for you. Jim said yes.
You can always go down.
I mean, there's times last summer, I should have worked more and I could. I know, but I'm $10 an hour is fine.
There 6 months.
I think that's a lot of fun, whatever you're. We can negotiate.
So it's 14 home.
Gives us You gotta make a example of.
Working over it.
That would just give me an opportunity to work some more hours this coming summer.
Don't tell you, don't let your wife come down with me. You don't want any more for less money.
I didn't know how much time costs around the freaking files.
She had a cane for her.
I see your hand.
Look there like, oh.
You got a secret?
Where is it now? Since they were gone.
You presented.
We need a motion to resume our meeting.
I make a motion to resume our work.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we resume, and we'll try to be done hopefully by 6:45 to give us another break before the council meeting. Thank you all for working with that. One quick thing before we jump into the fire. Okay. Give me a moment, because one thing we forgot, we heard the chief's request to go from 7,000 to 8,000 auto maintenance, and we got busy on guns and everything, and we forgot to formalize that. So everybody comfortable with that, and make it in your notes so the clerk can change it. It's from 7, that will be number 17. Yeah. Yes, from 7 to 8.
4017, Brian.
Yeah, that's your projection that showed already. It's showing scores. While we're waiting, we can quickly look at dog catcher, because that's a fast, or dog work, excuse me. That's a fast item, because at the present, you can see the gentleman we had resigned. And so right now, all we've got is our contributions to the animal shelter. Until we find out anything in the future. So I think that's pretty much assumed. All right, everybody comfortable with that until we figure out what our plan is.
So you want to take all that money out?
Well, that's, the mayor let 10,000 in there. Mayor, what are your thoughts on that, since you'll be the one negotiating what we do if it's with?
I can tell you what Nitro's doing. Nitro's decided that they're taking one of their public works chiefs and assigning them to be the person full-time in the city. Something we can look at. I don't think we can hire full-time motion two days a week, some weeks, 3 days another week. 8 hours a day. What do you?
Most animals, like, weeks and all, we have to start on the main office, there's walking dogs running loose, things like that. We have contacted the county humane officer, and we don't have the humane officer up here to help us when they can, emergencies. So, really see everybody that does use our humane officer, especially sharing with another city. You just lose, you lose him. They think he's up here working, he ain't down there working, he's not there working.
Would I be able to do it part-time, to be in my job?
Load them in the back of the bill inspector car.
If I'm in Trump.
Oh, yeah.
The only.
We got actually, think of that, we got actually take starter, put a cage, might be on the target. Catching, put a cage, and put a cage in the back. For that job, for what we're doing.
The only thing I see to that response is, it's gotta be somebody that can respond to the phone call like this. I mean, you'd have to be giving up whatever you were doing and run out the door.
Well, I mean,
And we don't have to solve that tonight, but on the money side, we want to leave it the way it is now, assuming we just find somebody in-house to take care of
I
that.
think we should.
Yeah, should make that what it is, and make a change, and we'll change
Okay.
it.
All right, we're back to fire now.
Oh, he can train out of time.
And Chief, you've seen for a little bit, you've looked over your budget, and again, it's already been brought up, the salaries reflect where,
Yeah.
for this year, and then you go down to,
I certainly won't argue it, so I think we'll be way under that, I'm not arguing it.
okay, and then there's a couple other adjustments you've seen there, I think, but you have some info for us as well.
I do.
Please, Chief.
If I could spare you all, mind you, I can't hear, I got a sinus infection, can't hear good, just bear with me. Informational packet for you, And I'll talk you through it real quick about priorities and some things that coming to light. This is the same thing I requested from this committee last year, almost, as far as numbers, and I'm just looking at operational, day-to-day operational. I'm not interested in salaries and pensions and all that. The day-to-day stuff where we have to run the department. And we took a $19,000 cut in the current budget, which is only going to just cascade into the next year of things that don't get bought, purchased, repaired. But on this second page, it's really where I want to focus. These are priority things that, it's equipment that has to be replaced. And I've showed you some totals of where we're looking at in years of expirations, like on air pipes and things that even DOT says we cannot use them after that date. And I've given you some 5-year plans of how to deal with this starting this year. And that's why you're seeing a $25,000 request in new equipment versus 8.
And we were at 25 until last
Yes.
year, correct?
Correct.
And then last year went from
And
25.
what happened is the last 2 years, I bought 4 sets of bunker gear each year. And for decades, as long as I can remember, we've always been buying 2. And the reason we had to do that is because we didn't buy the gear for 4 years in a row, so it put us behind. We are now caught up where I feel like we can go back to a 2 per year, philosophy going forward. That'll keep us rotated out and within the 10-year requirement recommendation by NFPA for replacement. 14 guys, doing it that way breaks us up 7 or 8 years. We never expire that. Radios and communications, I'm not sure how familiar you are, the state has a system that they're forcing us onto slowly but surely. And a lot of these radios, we didn't buy these. These were given to us through a grant by Robert Seaman that came out almost 10 years ago. And those radios have been end of life by Kimball. And what that means is they don't push out firmware, which means they stop working on the system as the system evolves. That's a plan that the city needs to be looking at to replace those, and I provided that to you, doing them 2 per year, slowly and like that. And fire hose, I went back and found, every year we test our fire hose. This year we load a lot of the attack hose, the smaller that we take in the houses. And we haven't bought that. I can't find records where we bought fire hose. The community fire department side bought some of that attack line a couple of years ago. Out of the city's budget, the last time we bought fire hose was the year 2000. And that was for a 5-inch supply hose. And if that gives you an indication of where we're at. So in telling you, when I look at it and say the department perhaps hasn't done the best job in planning out how all these things are going to impact at some point instead of them being a wave. I'm trying to tell you where we're at, what we need, and give you a plan as to how I want to get there. But in order to do so, I have to have money placed back into the budget. One of the things I just saw, and forgive me, I didn't have time to compare to, I haven't had time to add the numbers, but I will tell you what I'm asking for is it's a $20,000 increase of what we're running at this year, which really just replaces the 19 that we were down for this year. And that's just to get us back on track. I'm not buying new equipment. I'd love to buy new innovative equipment. All I'm doing is replacing what we have, keeping us in compliance.
You're buying new equipment, but you're not expanding your fleet. You're just
Correct. There is
refreshing.
no,
Okay.
it's new equipment, but it's because we have to set this out.
Okay.
Training, I noticed on here, 2,000 is what we're projected at. That will just barely cover the minimum contract payment,
Which is 1,800
which is
roughly.
1,800 change, and we just got the invoice on that here not too long ago. That does not cover the officer classes that are required every year that have to be either brought into the department or we have to send guys to fire schools. That 5,000 has consistently handled us, but 2,000, I'll be over it month one. So that's something I feel like y'all need to consider. Auto maintenance, and you all have actually provided me more than what I'm asking for there. And, we're having to farm out our oil changes and things like that. So I think that can come down. Supplies is another big thing. Because supplies, I'll tell you what, it's not just paper towels and things for us. It's batteries, flashlights, it's drill parts, it's hand tools. It's kind of a catch-all for my department. Supplies. They could be anything from printer cartridges to anything. And I feel like we should be careful about how we cut into that. But if there's questions, I would love to have the opportunity. I feel like last year, I should have maybe came in and demanded to talk to you all. I want to answer as many questions as I can. I'm sure you all understand, as a department head, what I'm looking at, what has to be done, versus what you all have to do to manage the city. I don't want you to think I'm pulling anything over you. I'm just giving you cold hard numbers.
So let me look,
But I haven't had a chance I didn't have this to be able to play with.
maintenance and repairs, R4015, is that the same thing you're calling building maintenance?
Correct.
Okay, and so you're requesting 5, and we've got it at 95.
Yeah, and probably because the last 3 years we've been replacing garage doors at $3,000 a piece. All those are done now. So pending any major thing there, I don't.
And auto maintenance, we have 12, you're requesting 10. So that's, and then training though, to get,
6,500.
yeah, to get back up to the code for training that you have to have, you're asking for 5, where we cut it down to 2. Or I think it was the rough draft presented to us.
Right.
Supplies was presented at 8, and you're requesting, let me find here, 10.
Yeah, they used to be 14, and we were not using all of it. It was actually being, what would happen, we'd run short on training costs, or run short on something we'd be able to move there. So I'm comfortable with that.
Oil and tires, you had 12, and that's the same thing on our road. So the other numbers are almost interchangeable except for new equipment.
Correct.
in there.
Yes. And one of the things, and I'm glad you all talked about Roxanna Station, I put it in your letter there, reminding you again about the Roxanna Station. Now we have the Roxanna Station roof. Every time the wind blows, the shingles are literally blowing off the roof and landing in the yard. That's something that is going to be looked at some point.
Well, I mean, you really need, when that starts happening, you need to let us know so we can get somebody out to repair it.
Well, I mean, I just did, but I'm just now being told about it, and they just brought them to me. They brought 2 or 3 of the shingles. And I went up there and looked, and they're just starting to peel off. As I went back and checked, it was 1993, I believe, when the building was roofed. It was roofed by the fire department personnel in lieu of comp time. I recommend we actually professionally deal with that.
You all did pretty good there. Kids last
That's
year.
something I'm not asking for in this budget. I'm making you aware of it, and so that you're.
Well, it needs to be done. I mean, we have money in the building and grounds to get it fixed. You just need to let us know when something happens so we can get it done.
And this is I found out about it like maybe a week ago. I don't know when it started. I'm not sure. Now, we did remove trees this summer. Scott was up there and we removed the trees around the building that I think was creating some of the problem. That's really where I'm at. Part of this is life safety. The ladder truck on these air packs, if we don't start replacing them now, in 4 years will be a scenario where there are no packs on that truck. So it's a problem I feel like that we can deal with. But instead of dealing with it 50,000 a pop, we can deal with it slowly over the course of the next 5 years. And I feel like we can do some good with it.
So let me summarize to make sure we're hearing you right, and then I'll let anybody ask questions.
And one other thing,
Okay. For fire department in general, of course, the Roxanna, the drainage issue, we've already addressed that. Like the mayor said, try to get something together for this, so we can maybe get a contract on the roof in this fiscal year. on that. Then on the others, again, the line items, Connie can check me, but it's within 1,000 or 2 on the, not the new equipment, the rest is within 1,000 or so in the Connie.
Yeah, well, actually, we're still to the good, 1,000,
Okay,
1,500,
okay, so we
other
could,
than the new equipment
Right.
line.
so we could adjust those without any issues. Now, we can come back and talk about new equipment. You said you have one other thing.
I do have one other thing, and I've spoken to the mayor briefly about it. It's something that I'm working on, I'm gathering information. Fire departments and cities around us do some department billing to recoup operating costs. And that's something I'm looking into. I don't have enough information to go into detail with it. But I think that's going to help us severely in our supplies for just operating costs.
Just quickly, how does that work? Because that's a new thing to us.
In some cases, it works different for different cities, so that's something you guys will have to decide once I give you what I know. The insurance companies are billed for supplies used by the fire department out on these car wrecks, fires, things like that. Some cities bill every single incident that happens. Bill the insurance company that is responsible for the incident. Some of them only bill people that do not live within their city and pay taxes in their city. So
At the present, we're getting 0.
right now we're getting 0.
Okay.
Right now, for example, I just ordered it, the oil drive we put out on all these car wrecks. It's now in excess of $500 a barrel, about every 4 months for us. We can be recouping the cost of that in one call. And we're running 100 car wrecks a year. So if you do simple math, I think, I'm really excited to bring it to you once I get more information. I'm going to get it to the mayor as soon as I can get it to him. And I feel like that will turn things around a little bit as far as recouping the operational costs that are
Even a
going on.
designated fund for some of these expenses.
But that will be up to the city as to who and how and what. But I'll find the backbones and the legalities of it. And there is some law at the county level on maximums and things like that.
It could almost be,
Still some power.
I'm just bouncing this off, but it could almost be for them, almost like the escrow is for the police, a way to recoup for supplies like the police with their escrows. Does that sound a fair summation of it?
Years ago, they talked about that in council, and they just want to bill for each police car responded, each fire truck, and it's been some time, but it's been brought up.
I feel like we're missing out on being able to recoup.
Let's take a few moments to discuss the request, because everything he's discussed is provided for in one way, except for the new equipment. He's given you a plan there, how to phase in, and these are things that are dated. Not as tight dates like the police, theirs has a little more leeway, but these are more tightly dated on kind of its oxygen tanks and things. Fire crews, what are your thoughts or any questions?
What's a bunker gear? I gotta ask that.
That's our gear, our fire department gear.
That's all gear.
Yes. And actually, what you're buying there it is simply the coat and the pants. That's not including the boots, helmet, and all that. It's just the coat and the pants. It's running us right about $2,200, $2,300 a set, and it'll kind of fluctuate a little bit.
And y'all do use digital radios or regular radios? Analog?
We're using both right now, but because we haven't transitioned into the digital fully yet. We do use the digital, don't get me wrong, we do use it, and our operations with South Charleston Fire Department and Charleston Fire Department, we have to use the digital because they are exclusively digital.
That's what I was going to ask. There's some departments that's all digital, right?
And at the county and state, at the 911 center level and at all these levels, the migration is to the state system. It's where we're all going off of our own little hilltops and things. The problem, the cost is just a lot more at the department.
This is 14,000 is what we're looking at a difference. We're actually 13,500 because Connie said we have 1,500 left over once we adjust to what he requested.
Right.
And then we've got 8 in that line already, so you're 9,500 and they requested 25. So we did it. We gotta look at that. The difference, Connie, with us. Well, on any of these, what we'll have to do is once we're done, then come back, once Connie gets us a rough draft again of all the edits, They come back
doing that for us.
Ron, and he's on the other board.
Okay.
I have one question, Chris.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need to keep the State Farm grant in there?
No, ma'am.
I was gonna say, because it's in this year's budget, we haven't got anything, so we can,
And
we
we
can
were,
eliminate the 5,000.
yeah, we were just rejected by that grant. They have changed their grant priorities and they're going
I
away
didn't mean to
from,
ask you that, because it's in this year's budget.
they're going away from, smoke detector and child fire safety. They're going more into community development. So you can remove that.
If we bump that 5 over 2, then that puts you to, Brian told me we had 8,000 at 15.
No, that was pending that you got it. And you didn't.
Right, that's every year thing.
Okay.
10,500 catch up. The revenue from the state farm
So now we're-
goes away.
Okay, yeah, it's a wash,
So it's
okay.
a wash on
Sorry, we thought we had 5 right here. Mayor, were you saying something else? I forgot what we were talking about the grant. Oh. Okay. The question Connie had, okay, go ahead, Doug.
I don't know about the SCBA's, he's talking about stuff, the air packs and things, but this radio system change over. I've been retired 22 years and we started on this clear back then. And all the cities, all the municipalities, the government, the county and the state, everybody caught up with that. Dunbar never caught up with it. We fought and argued and everything to try to go from the analog to the digital because of the capabilities that digital had. Because you get out here on a real stormy night and stuff, your analog systems can break down your signals and things. The digital is so much stronger. So this is something that's been ongoing for more than 22 years as far as the radio system goes. And I think, I may be speaking out of turn, but I think Dunbar's about the only one that doesn't have that system. And it's a big safety factor, not only for firemen, but if you're on scene and you're working with the police department, there's other departments, you, like you said, you've got to communicate with each other for the safety of everybody on the scene, so that's a big thing too.
I will tell you that before I retired from the police department, half the issue was on the digital, they didn't have enough digital channels out here at 911. At the police department, we were told specifically that we were going to be on with Nitro, St. Albans, and us. The problem is that once one person kicks up on that antenna, no one else can talk. Every time I went to the radio in a traffic stop or anything, St. Albans or Nitro would get on the radio, cut us off, and we didn't get back through. And here I am on a traffic stop by myself.
But had that been alleviated in the last year?
I don't think so.
Being one of the chiefs got in touch with Metro about that.
There's still some agencies using analog. If you talk to the street people or whatever,
Yeah, if you're staying local,
we
right?
we don't like.
Okay, I just want to bring it up.
But obviously, it's like Chief was saying, if it gets forced on us that way, but
But
the road guys.
again, they need to make sure there's a channel just for Dunbar instead of St. Albans, Nitro, and Dunbar.
Oh, it was, when I left South Charleston, it was a nightmare. I mean,
The digitals are.
the digitals, nothing would key up properly, you know, and they were evolving with it, and I'm sure they've done better, but and Doug's right, it has been going on forever, but they were pushing the technology before they had the equipment to do it with. The radios we got, when we got brand new ones,
We've
were already outdated.
probably 3 times in the last 5 years, and they don't last a day before there's an officer's safety. Have no idea where you're at or what you're doing.
Well, I stand corrected on that.
You know, they got a share
Let's
channel.
go back to,
That's what it was when we were going exclusive to the
we'll let the
digital.
department sort out the technology.
Okay.
Let's go back to the bus. Steve, I haven't given you a chance to comment about the. Well, it's what we'll do with anything, if anything we do, when we get to the end, then we'll have to go back again, look, and then it'll affect, how much is.
So you want to try to take it up maybe to 15?
Will affect our rollover, how much we take out of rollover, or what we assess, I mean, what we do negotiate on salaries, all, but that's, any of these, we have to come back and find the money somewhere based on what we need.
Start somewhere, I mean, start at 15, break it from 8 to 15, I mean, just throw
We're
that out.
95 right now, right, Brian, with that one adjustment.
The 90, we're at 55, the 5,000, each revenue and expense on both sides.
Okay.
So that comes off one side.
Okay, so we're up to 15.5 right now.
Correct.
Without any change.
So,
Yeah, 9,500, basically 10.
The interchangeable ones are the top, the maintenance, the auto, and the training, combined with the supplies, gets you to a positive 1,500 that you can put into, new equipment without changing the difference of 89,000 increase.
So that would make them on the new equipment exactly how much so far, Jim?
That would put 95 on new equipment with another 15,500 to go for the request.
Okay. So it's a difference of 15.5 right now. Those adjustments. I'm torn because it's something, we'll have to find the money on any of these things. However, at the same time, there are, as the chief mentioned, date stares in the face as well that are required, you know. So part of it's not so much whether we like it or not, we're in a situation where they have equipment that is on a cycle. We can look over, and there may be a few dollars here and there to squeeze out a couple of things, but probably not much. So part of it will depend on our rollover or carryover. I mean, and I know some of that's included, but Connie rolled it over on a conservative number, correct, Connie?
Yes.
It's on a conservative number. How soon will you have a better idea of that when we figure in salaries or rollover? I know more, you're doing the best you can with me now, but you know how long?
Well,
Because
first
how
of all,
much
we
is-
have to know, we have to have an idea of how much to plug in to see. Then I can run the same spreadsheet that we did before to give you an idea. But if you look at my memo I sent, if you just went across the board, there's a number that would increase.
Then it would depend on how much we would spend the next 4 months.
What a rollover.
Yes.
Just on the payroll burden, the retirement. I think I gave you a general number in my.
I think, and this is me just saying, with this considered, two things. One, we have deadlines stared at us, and actually they present a plan, which we never have, because we're always playing scramble on these things. And don't take this flip, but in 6.5 million, we can find 15 somewhere, I think. And, you know, if you disagree, that's not a problem. Feel free to say you disagree with that. But we gotta keep in mind as well, some of this stuff will be cycled through at much higher rates in a couple of years.
I mean, that 15 goes in addition to the 89 that we're increasing them already.
Yeah, but that's already built into the 89.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we had to scrounge to find that
Right,
somewhere else. So, you know, that adds another 15, 16. So
As long as our departments don't go on a spending spree just to say, oh, I've got this money left, we'll probably have a little bit of rollover than Connie's projecting because she's being conservative, which is good in there. So give me some feedback. Non-committee members or council, give us some feedback also.
Not saying this because I retired from the fire department, but this has always been my viewpoint as a citizen of a city where we pay taxes, municipal service fees and everything else. If we're going to maintain a police department, fire department, I think we need to do it to the best of our ability. And right now, I feel like it's been so many years that we've had a paid department, fire and police, that we can't do without them. So I think we need to do our best to try to fund the necessary stuff they need to keep operating. And we're working, we've already agreed to stuff with the police department, so I think we need to do also with the fire department, because we can't do away with it. Because if we do, we're going to reap everything from the citizens, insurance companies, and everything else.
The sad thing, it's easier on the police because they got a seizure fund. That's a lot easier. Linda? Mike, you've been around for a number of years and have wisdom on these things.
Well, I just want to just try to go line by line, find a little bit here, a little bit there. It's fun. It's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's there. It's there.
It's not easy, but it's there. Greg?
I was gonna echo what Mike just said, and you, I mean, I think one line to line, we can find it, I mean, with what Doug said, we need both of them, police and fire.
And I'm not being flippant when I say that, because, you know, I'm conservative with numbers, but I know we are facing deadlines and expiration dates on things.
Well, I mean, if we have to look at Parks and Rec, or we have to look at Shawnee Pool or something like that, then we have to make adjustments there. That I can adjust Parks and Rec or a pool, but I can't justify, not giving the fire department what they need. And the police department, just like Bill said he needs guns, he needs to get guns. I mean, they are out there protecting our citizens, they're out there, keeping our fire insurance down. I mean, they have to have the equipment they need, and so if you have to cut back on something else, to me, you cut back on Parks and Rec or Shawnee Pool or something.
If it's comfortable,
I didn't say cut back on Bob. I'm just saying, you have to make a choice between safety.
what I would recommend is if we, and they're not asking for increases more than previous, but to do that, and then each of us, between now and the next time, look and see if we can find a few dollars here and there in there somewhere, because we'll eventually run out of time, about 20 minutes here, after we get through streets, in there. Is that okay with you all? Just so we adjust that, and then we take ourselves to try to look as well and see if we can squeeze out a few things here and there.
Well, it can might be under projected on revenue, because with the sports complex there, it may generate a lot more revenue than what we've ever had. So it could possibly bring in that extra 15,000, maybe not.
At the same time, we all comfortable with that, keep moving, we don't want to rush it, but we are right now.
So you want to jump it up to 25?
Yeah, and then we may have to make some other adjustments somewhere else, because, Connie has to keep us under budget.
So
Equipment.
make those changes, Connie? Grace?
And that would increase the 89, that would jump it up to 15.5 beyond that, so I'm getting tired.
Goes
The
down,
185.
goes down 84,000 with the 5,000 reduction, and then up to 99,000. So that changed to 99,500.
Police reserves, Jim, there's an increase of 2,200 there in the projection for the proposed by the mayor.
Just 1 second, back to the fire. What is our total on the new equipment?
25.
Okay, thank you.
So were we leaving the police department as is?
Other than their auto, it would just from 7 to 8. Where
So we reduced them 27,000.
For what?
yeah, where's the reduction?
That's from last year.
It'd be actually 26,000 now. So the only change,
We just took the grants out of it.
yeah, the grants is their reduction, not anything's cut, just the grants.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'd actually increase the audit by 1,000, so the reduction would be 26 instead of 27.
Right. Start from state 15. The new equipment stays at well under that.
New equipment stays at 15 years, so we didn't change.
Let me ask a quick question. If we're able to get most of that stuff out of DEA as far as your needs on new equipment, is it safe to adjust your line down at least a couple thousand on that 15 that we could roll over into the fire to help find a couple thousand there? Since we're going into, go ahead. No.
No, I would not.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I don't think we have enough salary in there yet either.
I'll let you talk about equipment for equipment.
That's what I meant, is equipment.
They might.
There's their new equipment, since they're gonna get a lot of it out of DEA seizures.
Well, but there's 15,000 for equipment. That's been their budget last year, their budget this year.
I guess that's something you can monitor.
With the new officers coming on, there's going to be new.
We still haven't bought new vests for the 3 officers and hats. There's still going to be some expenses with these 3. But I know it's this year's budget.
Well,
We'll be adding at least 1 or 2 more officers too, so that number's going to be going up.
We'll leave it like that. Now let's jump to street department quickly. And Scott, you had a chance to look over the paper you got.
A little bit.
The big change in yours is the streetscape, which is a huge change, which doesn't affect your guys. But any other, and remember, you got a backhoe, a dump truck, and we got on the next agenda pickup, so.
Yeah. I'm good with the equipment so far, other than, when we get to the next one.
Sanitation. Okay, let's go ahead and jump down to sanitation, then we'll finish out those other three real quick.
As you can see, with the, both departments, actually, with the maintenance and repair, whenever, I take in the street, trash trucks, or any kind of equipment repair, it's a minimum of $1,000 bill every time we go, to $3,000 to $5,000, so that starts adding up on me.
Where's that being billed now, Connie? Because it's showing zero right there.
Well,
We take that up to 25,000.
Right, yeah, it took it up a little bit,
Okay, we almost.
just doubled it.
Auto making sure.
Other than that, I'm good. Other than if we can finish paying off the trash truck, I want you all to know that it's still a year away once you order one before it can be delivered. So if we want to get one, we might want to try to figure that out. I know she's talked about it several times about the trash trucks when they're paid off, but we might want to.
Yeah, we have another year for our trash truck.
And it'll take a
Trash
year
truck
to
will be paid off in February of,
2020.
I don't even have that.
Sounds right.
But if I would order it now or start looking at trying to get it ordered, it'd still be a year out.
When you order though, do we only start paying the lease purchase once we get it?
Not until it's delivered.
Not till it's delivered.
Okay. Okay, so money-wise, we don't have to worry about it until we pay this and all, but timeline-wise, you're saying we need to make sure we're paying attention to get that ordered ahead of time.
Correct.
If
And I
we
can
feel
work
worried
on
about it. Okay. So that's something you'll need to keep bringing to our
One of
attention.
one of the equipment items is, we've got the pickup truck and we've got the new plow and truck. And I would like to buy another plow for one of the other newer trucks because the old ones aren't going on the new trucks.
Our backhoe and our truck payments is 31,000. We at least have to have 31,000 in there to cover
Now,
backhoe and truck payment.
you're back up in 750. What sub-number, Connie, you're looking at?
I'm looking at 750.
Now, what line in that one
We're
for?
talking about new equipment, 55.
Okay,
We at least have to have 31 in there to
we've
cover,
got 54.
to
in
cover
there.
truck payment and backhoe. The truck we just bought and the backhoe.
So,
We've got 54 in it, so.
So that's allowing, you know,
I mean, it's very possible that if we get the cost, you can present it between now and July and get it taken care of out of this year. That's
now
what
garbage
this-
truck, you were talking about a garbage truck?
No, I'm talking about the space line.
Oh, okay.
But I can go do something.
Now, the garbage truck we would take care of when we get the payoff. Work backwards is, Councilman indicated that, you know, get to the deliveries time confirmed that if it pays off in February, we can go work backwards and say if we order in August or July or whatever.
Because theoretically, even the one we paid off should run for a few months. I know we don't want to get way behind, but I don't think it's as bad as we paid off. Yes.
I've just got one problem.
Hope they don't die that fast.
It's about time that it's worn itself out and time to get the new one later.
So overall, then I think most of these categories take care of what you're looking at.
Yes.
Right? And then street lights, snow removal, those are all pretty standard street construction. Any questions? Because those are all pretty much standard rollovers from where we're at now. So that takes us through street lights, snow removal, street construction, sanitation. We'll wind down, these last ones are a little quicker. Storm sewer maintenance includes salt bin, and this is a large increase, but there's a salt bin and then some other repairs you had there, correct?
That's
Salt bin.
basically, that's just the salt bin.
It's just the salt bin itself, okay. Any questions on that? Again, that's something that's just like the issue with the fire. I mean, it's not a safety to human issue, don't misunderstand it. But we are on a timeline on DEP on that, so it's something they're breathing down their neck. Is that a fair statement, Hugh? DEP's breathing down their neck on that salt bin?
They want it done sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Or we'll get fined, right?
$10,000 a day.
Oh, my.
So we better keep
So we
going.
gotta get,
Parks and Rec, Convention and Visitor Bureau. You had a chance, Bub, to scan over yours,
Yeah.
and you have a paper for us, so bring us the paper real quick.
Okay, and just looking at it from the surface, the main change was under item 81, which was the Land and Water Conservation Fund, the 50,360. That'll all be closed out before July, so that's the reason that's not in there.
so that range would be 16,000.
It looks like it came out of payroll.
Yeah, they were looking on payroll. That's just a wish list. Now, turning to y'all, I know, Councilman Skip, talked about last council meeting about the, gym floor. Gym floor's been at least 10 years or more since anything has been done to it. I know the mayor and I have talked about the AC for the gym, gymnasium. For years, I've talked about security cameras, not just for us, but also the activity that happens on that street. It can help out the police department. We've had some break-ins on cars, like on Sundays, and I know that the police department's coming to us, want to know if we had cameras, to see who it was. We didn't have any, but, Connie knows there's a lot of activity on that street, especially in that parking lot. Some of the other stuff, just little minor cosmetic stuff I like to do down there.
I'm listening to you.
But improving the lighting down there, save a little bit too. Flooring up at City Park building, maybe we get some more money, more rentals up out there. The AC in the gym, I think will work out good if, like in the summer times, I know, the grand reunion, it went down like every 2 or 3 years. They're not getting as many people. Maybe we could get them to move to the rec center with air conditioning in there. I trying to keep everything in Dunbar, plus other reunions. Most of us here went to Dunbar High, always got class reunions, but we can actually have it in the city.
Scan this, you got a vehicle last year, so, I'm just saying, for new equipment, we don't have to worry about your vehicle's good shape, right?
Yeah. Jill Scott wants to turn into the dog catcher all over it.
So we got 10,000 to start with on some of these projects here, but I know that's not enough.
No, that's just, like I said, wish list. There's some other minor things I can probably still do out of this, out of the existing budget now. But, the two main ones is the first two.
Any idea what an AC for a gym will run?
We were looking at 32,000.
So 35, we see.
Yeah.
Well, that's with me doing the 3-phase power, to the building.
Security cameras are cheap.
I'm sorry.
And all that, yeah.
So you're looking at about
We could do that.
$60,000 on his wish list.
Okay. Some of these things, again, as far as individual projects, something we can kind of look at a time out of. I'm not trying to squander it if we need to go back like on to AC or something, it's coal severance or something like that. I'm not saying that's what we want to do, but I'm just saying there's other things that we can't fit in the budget. Maybe we'll kind of look at in other ways in the future. Any questions for Bob or comments?
I would like to see you work on the security cameras as soon as possible.
That's inside and out. There's a,
We really need to look at that everywhere. We need to.
For the safety.
We need here at City Hall too.
Especially if the young ladies are down there
well,
watching.
Let me ask a quick question on, and Connie can help me on this. Their new equipment as of December 31 was less than 2,000. How much has been spent since then out of their 10 for this year?
And this year,
Yeah, because a few of these things you can maybe get, so that you split these up, some just finish out and then work on your 10 next year.
the lighting, I think I went kind of high. I think I can get it for less than that. And that's just easy fix. That could be done in-house. It's nothing to, I've seen it done. One of my guys worked for us.
Is all they spent.
One of the guys worked for Frank, he's an electrician, certified electrician. Boom, get it done.
1,800 in addition to what's on here?
No, it's what we spent this year.
It's only spent 18.
How much is the envelope?
So he's still got
Me too, but I just rounded
a
it
little
up.
over 8,000 right now.
8,200.
He's got 8,200
I'm
left.
a cheapskate, I try to keep everything.
But it may be wise we need to get a few of these now. Because, and then we'll start on next year, then with some others. But that still doesn't solve the big issue of the floor and the AC. Those are two big things. We'll have to find another way to fund on that. Is it fair for you to work on these other two and then we sometime try to come back and find them separate funding for those other two?
Yeah.
Because those are larger items. Anything else, comfortable with that?
Real quick, where'd you get the price for refinishing the floor and stuff?
I got it from, AIP, which does, they did our doors, our handicap accessible doors, which I didn't know they did stuff like this, so that's who I went through, just to get the estimate. I mean, there's other places.
products?
Over here, copy in Franklin. I just wanted to get that estimate, you know, if we took it out for bid, you know, we could get other bids from other places, but that's the only one.
We just did the one at Baptist Church 2 years ago from Halstead and Company over here in South Charleston. That's what they do. They do all the schools and everything, and ours was $9,500.
Yeah, see, the only thing other than what they're guaranteeing is the, volleyball pole insert. That's,
Right.
yeah, but usually if we can, and I can look at that, is try to get on, the comp county, when they schedule do all theirs, maybe we could do that and come in at a cheaper price. But you're looking at, this floor's been there since before I started work there in '93. So you're looking at,
Probably original floor.
no, it was a
Is
floor
it
before
finished
that.
right
It was
now?
a parquet floor before that, in '81 when they put it down. They put this one down in like '92, I think it was. It's, some of it was down to the bare, everything. It needs to be like resanded, repainted, coated,
That's what ours
everything.
was. Ours hasn't been done in 27 years.
Yeah.
At the church. Halstead and Company over here in South Charleston.
Let's take note of that. So let's quickly, we'll get library beautification fast, and that'll give us the last few minutes to touch on the pool and aging, and that'll wrap up this time. Connie will make our edits, and then we can quickly decide if we think we can tackle any adjustments at our next finance meeting, or if we need a quick meeting some other time before we get there.
I said one thing like under the CBB, just looking at over there, I don't know if I'm here to, but only thing I see like an increase in the CBB part is maybe be the Easter egg.
One thing, and this is just off the top of my head, Easter egg hunt, we could, for the, instead of increasing it, we could ask for, like we do, Whiplash, churches, sponsor some things. So,
Yeah, we get the Methodist church involved, some involved, you're talking about, if you want to make it bigger and better with the playbook and stuff like that, and that's where the cost is.
we can maybe hit that in the way she did with the other word.
Yeah, but Easter egg hunt's Easter egg hunt.
I know, we want to make it bigger than ever
Jumping
else.
up and down the track.
Library, we gave them an increase last year. We had nothing but trouble in one honesty in cooperation with them this year. I don't think we want to adjust that into it. Connie? Because I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant that we have had headaches. Beautification, this is, stays the same, and how does that come through? I know it's not formal here, but do they come to you for their monies?
Generally speaking, we've always just rushed the checks we would give to
Yeah, to once a year.
Right. Have no idea. They came and got the books and I gave it to them.
They still haven't completely structured.
Let's go to Shawnee, quickly level on Shawnee.
What it is, and look at the pool.
Okay.
I think we just kept it the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a.
We have made adjustments at the front gate and stuff like that, but, you know, with the, like they say, with weekends, the tournaments, we may get more increase at the concession stand and more people in.
Yeah, aging program, is that?
No, it's under 10.
Yeah, okay. Is she, since there's, I mean, there is an increase there, looking, I didn't mark myself what that was.
Gas and oil about 3,
Okay,
supplies 9,000.
so that's mostly their van,
1,700.
their van transportation is a big thing.
Can I make a quick note on that?
Sure.
Security wise, when they city court, they use the restrooms downstairs, I'd like to see scissor gate, whatever you want to call that, installed down there to keep people from court being able to.
We do
go
need to do
through.
that.
Yeah.
Through the police department or whatever it is.
And that would fall really under our buildings and grounds.
Yeah,
But we do, and it's not that expensive, because I have been looking at some places to buy. We do need to do that badly.
Any questions on aging? Now, Connie and Brian will get all these edits made, get us back rough draft. Now, Gene, just a quick question. You feel comfortable enough on this to wait until that next finance meeting before council? We have to have a first vote, or do we want to have an extra meeting? So we just have time to work on details. Mayor, what do you think?
I'll ask Brian a question real fast.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so,
How much did it drop?
About 30,
huh?
about 30.
So the carryover is going to be 267 instead of 237.
263, no, 262, 825.
I think that,
We've done pretty, in all honesty, come out with just 30,000, we've done, I'm working out, I'm sorry, but
That's what we got to
we
do.
just come out with 30,000, pretty good.
and I would say that we could put this back in roll, paper form, give it back to everybody, and I think we should take the first vote.
Hopefully I
With
can have
finance
it to you at the end of the week. See our money.
If you guys feel comfortable with increasing the 30,
The mayor and the clerk are comfortable, and Brian can get it ready for us. The rest of you, are you comfortable with just coming back to finalize this on March the 4th in our finance meeting?
Brian has to say,
I just want to make sure that I got it, I did it very quick and dirty right there.
We'll go, we will work with you.
Okay, so-
yeah, we will.
That's very, that was very quick change over. Calling out details and-
Then if we just ask for the mayor to have on the agenda of the next meeting, and the clerk will get us, sure we get all of us, the edits by roughly the end of the week, the first next week, so you have time to look through them. And I would encourage any of you, not just us on the committee, any other four of you, if there's a couple little things, even $100 or something somewhere that's not going
All
to
right.
impact, let Connie know, or shoot me an email or something, we can milk out a few more.
how long do we have on that?
We'll meet back on March the 4th,
Okay,
2 weeks from yesterday.
because I'll go over mine really.
Yeah, and well, you can, but maybe just simply wait until you get the revised one.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
I'll try to get a revised one out to you all,
Okay,
hope by Friday.
okay, that'd be good. Any other questions? Motion to adjourn.
Of course, the big thing's gonna be getting our taxes from the, really, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.